Hello, lovely people, and welcome to this speed build of a vintage camper, or a vintage caravan, if you're more of a British inclination, I suppose. So, I had a lot of trouble with the roof on this one, because you can't really get the roof to look like an actual camper. You need the roof to go like in at the bottom, which you can't do with the roof we have. But I think I ended up getting a pretty good match. I think it feels like a vintage camper. At least I think so. I hope you do too. Originally I wanted it to be like a mint green, because I've seen these pictures of vintage campers that are mint green and they're just lovely. But I couldn't find a good match where it didn't look strange. All the texture there are wallpapers that are mint green, but all the textures looked weird. And for some reason, this wallpaper from Kids Room, I think it's from the Kids Room pack, for some reason that's the one that worked the best, which I don't know, that's weird. But yeah, so it ended up being this white and pink. So this is a very small camper, as you can probably tell. It's 3x5. Although it's technically 3x6, because I do use the room, the roof at the back of the camper, I do use that as a bathroom, a very small bathroom. But you can use it even though it isn't technically counted as part of the house. If you have a tiny living, it'll definitely be a micro home, this, even I suppose if I hadn't included the space at the back, which I don't. But, so, this did mean that the bathroom is very small. It's like 1 tile by 3, so there's only room for a toilet and a sink. It is usable, by the way. I've play tested it, so even though it's technically part of the roof, then the sim can use it. It's no problem. So I had to build an outdoor shower, and I'm actually kind of proud of it. I think it ended up looking really nice. It looks very modern, which I think that's okay, because it's, even though the camper might be from the 50s or 60s, or I don't know, probably the 60s, the rest of the house or the rest of the lot is definitely not. So it's like a modern woman, a modern woman, yeah, I suppose it is a modern woman who bought a vintage camper from the 60s. If it had been like set in the 60s, this lot, then the camper wouldn't be vintage, would it? Yeah, so it's definitely set in modern times. That's a weird thing to say about a build. I don't know. So there is a modern shower. I thought that was nice. There's a laptop in the camper as well when I get to decorating the inside, so it's definitely set in present times. I think originally I thought about doing like a wilderness bath, like a bathtub out in the wilderness, and but it looked better with this sort of little shower house. I thought it was quite cute, and I really liked it. And obviously there is a garden pond. I really enjoy making garden ponds for some reason. I don't know why. There's something, I don't know, peaceful about creating a piece of nature. I don't know. I mean, garden ponds are not really the most exciting part of nature, I suppose, but it is still a place for wildlife, aquatic or fowl. And yeah, I enjoy garden ponds. I don't know. Also, something I was thinking about, because I did look up quite a lot of pictures of vintage campers to use for reference, also because I was really struggling with the roof on this camper. And then I was thinking, because you have this whole, okay, this is a bit of a tangent, I'm sorry. You have this whole aesthetic called cottagecore, with a small cottage in the countryside, and you grow your own vegetables, and you have like gingham curtains in the kitchen, and some sort of white flowery dress as you walk through all these white, freshly washed linen, you know, blowing in the wind, and that's like a whole aesthetic. And then I'm thinking like vintage camper should be an aesthetic too. That's also something nostalgic and escapism, some sort of escapism about a vintage camper too, I think. That should definitely be some sort of vintage camper core. I think that should be an aesthetic too. Just my 2 cents. Now, a funny thing happened when I was decorating this lot, because I hadn't, you know, created a sim to live in this lot, but the sim sort of appeared when I was decorating the lot, because all these flowers, I placed all these flowers and there's these flower bushes all over, and I'm going to put like a bunch of flower pots as well so you can grow flowers. And then I realized, yeah, this is definitely a person who like binds flowers, or, you know, create all these bouquet of flowers. So I ended up putting that flower binding station from Seasons on the lot as well. But that's funny, like the sim who lived there, you know, the occupation sort of appeared when I was building. So that's quite fun. Because usually it's the other way around. When I'm like building a house I want to play with and to have a sim live in, I usually create the sim first and then, you know, create the house based on their needs and aspirations and so on and their personality. But here it was the other way around, so I did end up spending a bit of time in CAS, and I'm not good at CAS, creating the sim who lives here, you know. So that was quite fun. I thought I would end up using like a lot from the backyard stuff pack, because I had this image of all these pastel colors, and I do use like a fair bit. I do use, I think, all the plants from that pack and some of the like sculptures and lights. So I did end up using a fair bit from that pack, but not as much as I thought. I thought it would be like all backyard stuff. It wasn't. And I sort of reverted back to this flower bush, and it's from base game. You see me place it all over the lot now. That's probably my favorite bush, at least at the moment. It is subject to change, but I do think it's gonna sound weird, but it has like it's nice on different angles, so you can sort of turn it around and have it look like not the same bush placed over and over, and then you can size it up and down. It looks a bit natural. It doesn't look like it doesn't look too much the same from all angles. So it's a pretty versatile bush. And I like the colors, the pastels. It has like, well, it has white, yellow, pink, and blue, light blue, I think, and it's lovely pastel colors. I really like that bush. So I don't know, that might be a strange thing to say about a bush. So a problem I ran into was this whole area in front of the camper was a bit empty, or a bit like it needed an anchor. Does that make sense? So you have the table, and then I built this short stone wall to place all these plants against, and make it look like, no, it's not just standing at random. And this whole sort of old stone wall, it does pop up a few more times in the build when I decorate further. So and I don't know if this vintage camper, it might have been like these short stone walls, they might have been like, I don't know, the leftovers from a house that used to sit here. It's all about the history of the lot, I suppose. There might have been an old house that sat here, and these are the ruins and the leftovers from that house, and then the owner, the new owner who moved here with her fancy vintage camper and all her flowers, has sort of integrated it into her garden and into her home, instead of removing the last evidence of the previous people who lived here. So it's all about, a bit of a holistic approach to this. I don't know, I might have been putting too much thought into the history of this completely fictional lot I've been building. I don't know. Is that weird? It might be very weird. So I decided to go for like a clothesline and that sort of retro washing capabilities. And I realized something just by playtesting this lot, that I am very grateful that washing machines and tumbler dryers exist in these modern times, because just, you know, by having this simulated, this sim washing using these old-fashioned washing equipment, I realized like it's really a big bother. I'm really grateful for washing machines. I do use like clothesline, obviously, as much as I can in real life. Because, you know, there's no reason to use a dryer when you have a clothesline. But a washing machine, that's really a time saver. I realized that just by watching my sim spend like, I don't know, like 2 hours in game washing clothes, which might not be like a completely realistic portrayal of how long it would take, you know, in real life. But I still think it gives a pretty good sense of just how grateful I should be for the invention of the washing machine. Yeah, that's a bit of a tangent as well, I'm sorry. Now, one thing I ended up being really happy with is the layout of this really tiny house. Because remember, it's, well, is it 3x6 or 3x5? I don't know, it's technically, I suppose, 3x6 in terms of how much of the space I use, which is not a lot. That's 18 squares you have, but it did manage to have like a half bath. There's no showering opportunity, but we have a lovely shower outdoor, and we have a full kitchen and a bed, and, you know, I even remembered a TV, and I always forget to put a TV because I don't have one in real life. I just, you know, use my computer when I want to watch Netflix or whatever. So I always forget to put a TV in these homes I built, which is sometimes silly when I build like some sort of luxury home and then they have no TV. So, but I did remember to put a TV in this one, so all is good with the world. And I went for this whole retro vibe inside as well, which the fridge from Jungle Adventures just perfect for. That's like the perfect vintage fridge. And I think it ended up looking really quite nice. I did have yeah, because I usually like to put a double bed in all of my builds, mainly because, you know, I like having a double bed. But there's really no room for it because it's really very small, this house, or this camper. So it's just this single bed from Eco Living. But it looks cozy and nice, and everything works. It's completely play-tested. I definitely thought I would have to move something. I was a bit like, will the bathroom work? And it does. There's no problem. I didn't have to move a single thing. Everything ended up being useful the way I placed it. So that's just perfect. I was a bit surprised by that, because especially when you have built these like tiny cramped rooms or houses or buildings or builds or campus in this case, you sometimes have to, like, you know, move stuff around a bit to get it to work when everything is so close together. But everything worked in the first try here, which is just, I suppose, just short of a miracle. It was really nice. But we are reaching the end of this speed build, and I want to say thank you for watching and staying with me to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. I definitely have some fun stuff in store. I'm just going to say Mushroom Kingdom, but not from Mario, but like my own version of a Mushroom Kingdom. That's the next project I'm working on. I hope you'll stick around, maybe subscribe so you'll know when I post my next video. But in any case, I hope you have a truly lovely day,